A former minister who played a key role in Australia's controversial asylum seeker pushback policy has been hired to shake up Britain's border measures. Priti Patel will announce today that Alexander Downer, ex-Minister for Foreign Affairs Down Under, will carry out a thorough review of the UK border force. His remit will include looking at the influence of unions over the agency's effectiveness. It comes after the union that represents the majority of border force staff joined forces with a migrant charity to launch a legal challenge against Miss Patel's plans to turn Channel boats back to France. It is understood that Mr. Downer will cover all of border forces' work, including immigration checks at ports and airports, counter-smuggling operations, as well as dealing with asylum claims. His report will be due within months, and is expected to influence ministers' decisions on the next stages of immigration reform. It opens the possibility of a complete overhaul of border force. Proposals could include a merger with a separate Home Office agency, Immigration Enforcement, which deals with foreign criminals, visa breakers, and organized crime gangs. The Home Secretary's appointment of Mr. Downer will be controversial because he has been a leading advocate of Australia's long-standing policy of blocking asylum seekers' boats off its coastline. Introduced in 2001, it sees boats from Indonesia and other Pacific islands stopped at sea, refueled, and redirected away from Australian shores. Last September, Mr. Downer, writing in the Daily Mail, said, "Priti Patel has been widely ridiculed on both sides of the channel for suggesting that boats carrying migrants be physically pushed back towards the French coast. Yet, from my experience as Australia's former Minister for Foreign Affairs, I know that a pushback policy can work." He set out how Australia took direct action during its own migrant crisis, intercepting vessels and deploying naval forces to turn them away. As word spread around Indonesia that we were determined to stamp out the trafficking, it soon stemmed the numbers, he wrote. "I see no reason why this cannot be done in the Channel. My advice to Miss Patel would be to introduce the pushback policy without fanfare, and to keep the French informed on a need-to-know basis only." Australia has conducted its turn-back policy for most of the last 2 decades. Initially called the Pacific Solution, it was dropped by the country's Labour government in 2008 but later reintroduced after a series of migrant boat disasters. Since 2013 it has been codenamed Operation Sovereign Borders.